Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
And we actually might have a matchup Nate Diaz is willing to come back for. This is a fight I also would love to see, as well as a lot of hardcore and maybe even casual MMA fans alike. Holy smokes, I didn't even think about this. It did not cross my mind after Anthony Pettis' huge win at UFC 226, I believe, or was it 225? 225. Anthony Pettis submitted Michael Chiesa. Actually, yeah, it was UFC 226, Miocic versus Ngannou. But either way, Anthony Pettis got back to his old form, looked amazing versus Michael Chiesa, submitted him via triangle armbar, and with that great performance, Anthony Pettis is trying to propel himself into another big fight. Anthony Pettis is a guy, former UFC lightweight champion, on the Wheaties box, always only 1 or 2 big wins away from a title shot. But on top of that, even more important when you're trying to get a fight with Nate Diaz, this fight would be very personal. I'm not talking about, oh, you dissed me one time, I'm talking about bad blood for years. Nate Diaz and Anthony Pettis have been, I don't know if they've both wanted to fight each other mutually, but this is a fight fans have wanted to see since 2014. This is how long the bad blood goes back to. I mean, Nate Diaz and Anthony Pettis, their styles just don't mix. You got Anthony Pettis, who's more like Hollywood, you might say, you know, with his endorsements and his style and stuff like that. And I'm just talking about compared to Nate Diaz. You know, I'm not saying Anthony Pettis is just like Hollywood, but I'm saying compared to Nate Diaz, who's more of a street fighter, coming from the streets, thug life type dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, Nate Diaz seems more like a guy from the streets, and I'm not talking about like homeless. I'm talking about like street fighter type. You know what I'm saying? Get it out the mud. Anthony Pettis is a guy that seems like he, I don't want to say, I'm just going off, you know, I'm just going off of seems like. Now, I don't know either one of these guys personal, but I'm saying Anthony Pettis, he just seems like the opposite of a Nate Diaz. I was going to say he seems like maybe from the suburbs, but I don't want to come out here and just fucking put that on him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get disrespectful with it. I'm just trying to describe how these guys come from opposite environments, and that's part, and maybe they don't. Shoot, for all I know, maybe Anthony Pettis did come up from the fucking mean streets, and maybe he did used to do jujitsu for lunch like Nate Diaz. But in my mind, it doesn't seem like that. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it's just because he was on a Wheaties box. You know, I don't know. It is what it is. But that's how I see it. And these guys don't like each other. I know that's a fucking fact, and they haven't for a while now. I mean, shoot. Just last year, Anthony Pettis, actually it might have been a year before that. It's been a while since Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor fought. But after Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor fought, Anthony Pettis kind of blew it off. He wasn't giving Nate Diaz no props with the win. He said Nate Diaz got lucky. You know, he's just not a fan of Nate Diaz. He's definitely biased in the situation. He's not. These guys just don't fucking like each other. And now, why that matters is because nobody can get Nate Diaz out of retirement. I don't even know if you call it retirement at this point. Retirement. I don't know what the hell Nate Diaz is in. A slump? I don't know. He's just not fighting right now. I mean, maybe a lot of people feel like he's waiting on the Conor McGregor trilogy because he's really given us a lot of excuses and timetables for returns, which we're going to get into actually in a second from now. Nate Diaz hinted that he's on the way. And maybe he's against Pettis. You know, that's my mind. Hopefully Nate Diaz will take a fight with Pettis. It's a winnable fight. It's a grudge match. It's a big fight. I mean, it really checks off a lot of boxes as far as things that could get Nate Diaz wanting to come back to fight. He's coming off of a win. He's not coming off of a loss anymore. Anthony Pettis looked amazing in his last performance. He's coming off of a big win. There's another box you can check. But other than that, man, people have tried everything to get Nate Diaz back in the octagon. You've had multiple fighters now calling out Nate Diaz in the mean way, disrespectful. They did it the nice way. Hey, Mr. Nate Diaz, would you put like Sage Northcutt style call outs? Mr. Nate Diaz, I would love to fight you if you would please come back to the octagon. We all think you're the great. We respect your skills, and we would love to fight you. We've had it that way. We've had people saying they'll Stockton slap the shit out of him. And real quick, full-time family, before you forget, Make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying this video, and also if you're new, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to see more videos like this, just check out the video description, the Full-Time MMA Dojo over here at patreon.com/fulltimemma, and you can see a lot of other cool things, including the goals of this channel, which is something new, so make sure you go check that out. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of the video. We've had, like, literally, people have, words aren't going to get him back in the octagon, so you're going to have to mix something else in. We've had title fights thrown at Nate Diaz at any weight class, still hasn't came back. And other than that, aside from all the opportunities, we've heard about bike season, we've heard, I mean, you know what, so Nate Diaz just hasn't been in the octagon since he fought Conor McGregor those 2 times. And now, all of those excuses and different time frames, the ultimate, what I believe and what a lot of other people believe, is he's making sort of a business decision here. Because what if Nate Diaz would have fought twice? Hell, and then since the time Conor McGregor fought Nate Diaz, he could have fought 3 or 4 times. What if Nate Diaz lost 3 times? I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but what if? People probably don't want to see Nate versus Conor 3 as much if Nate Diaz goes on a losing streak. And so with that being said, you're kind of playing it safe by sitting on the sidelines. Once you do fight Conor McGregor again, hell, the bigger Conor McGregor gets, the bigger your trilogy is. Conor fights Floyd Mayweather, Nate Diaz's trilogy check just got that much bigger. You know what I'm saying? And this is why. If Conor, let's say Conor McGregor had 40 million followers, and I'm using followers just as a guideline of how many people are paying attention to the Nate Diaz-Conor McGregor fight. Let's say Conor, after he fought Nate Diaz, had, and that's way too high, let's say he had 1 million followers. And then after he fights Floyd Mayweather, he jumps up to 10 million followers. And then, oh wait, he might even fight Khabib in the meantime, 15 million followers. So now Nate Diaz is going from fighting Conor McGregor with 1 million followers to fighting Conor McGregor with 15 million followers. That's that much more people going to be watching your trilogy fight in the meantime. So Nate Diaz is Conor McGregor's really kind of out there doing work for him right now while he's sitting on the sidelines. Because Conor McGregor's just making their trilogy fight that much bigger. Now Nate Diaz would be working against the grain if he motherfucking came in and lost 2 fights in a row or lost 3 fights in a row. You're making the fight that much worse. You might even be losing your opportunity at that point. Right now, people are going to want to see the trilogy. It's kind of like fucking Pacquiao and Mayweather. People always wanted to see it, but it happened 5 years after people wanted to see it. But guess what? People still wanted to see it and bought the pay-per-view. So that's the type of shit we could be dealing with here with Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz 3. No matter how long it's going to age like wine, because Conor McGregor, I mean, unless he fucking goes to prison or some crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? Because he has been a little off the rails, no pun intended, lately. But at the same time, barring any legal situation that would prevent it, barring any crazy, you know what I'm saying, unforeseen circumstances, Conor McGregor is making the trilogy fight bigger for Nate Diaz right now. And I just really thought about that on this video, but that's true right now. And if I'm Nate Diaz, yo, I would save that for the fucking press conference. I would say that to Conor. Like, dude, I've been out fucking smoking my weed, smoking my vape, partying, and you've been out working for me. You've been out fighting Floyd Mayweather, fighting fucking Khabib. Meantime, I've been kicking back. You've been building my fight up. Fucking, you know what I'm saying? Throw some words at the end like bitch or something to make it that much better. Hell yeah. But hey, it is what it is. Nate Diaz did hint he's on the way back. We don't know if he's talking about to the octagon. And I'm going to give you my fucking expert take on it. I think he's talking about fucking bike season. I ain't going to lie to you, Full-Time family. Check this out. Nate, now, make sure we cover this tweet before we get out of here. Anthony Pettis said that he's down to fight Nate Diaz because Iaquinta's out indefinitely. Iaquinta out of his fight with James Vick. No, I'm sorry, he's out of his fight with Justin Gaethje. We'll talk about that, another topic for another day. But Pettis wanted to fight with Iaquinta. He's out, so he's calling out Nate Diaz. Now, just calling out Nate Diaz probably won't get you the fight. That's why we talked about everything else in this video, because there's a whole lot of boxes the Anthony Pettis fight checks off that these other guys don't. Now, with all that being said, Anthony Pettis is calling out Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz is hinting that he's on the way. Now, this is the picture he posted, you know what I'm saying? He got the Adidas throwing it up. West side, motherfucker, whatever he's throwing up. Just peace. Nate Diaz looked like a G in this picture, not gonna lie. But when you look in deeper in the picture, and I mean literally deeper, what do you see in the background? because the caption literally just said OTW calf, which is on the way. Now, us fight fans are thinking, oh, he's on the way back to the octagon. Yes, yes, yes. But then when you look in deeper in the picture, you see a whole motherfucking bunch of bikes in the background. You see bikes on the right. You see bikes on the left. I think Nate Diaz is on the way back to motherfucking bike season, dog. I don't know where he's on the way. I hope he's on the way back to the octagon. But there's way too many bikes in this picture for this cryptic message. You know what I'm saying? I wish you would have posted a picture in the motherfucking octagon with your gloves wrapped, talking about on the way. But when you got these bikes behind you, bro, I don't know where you're going. You're about to hop on that bike and hit the motherfucking triathlon, dog. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Anthony Pettis has called out Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz posted a cryptic message hinting that he's on the way. But we still don't know exactly where he's talking about. With that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And this is the hardest working MMA channel on YouTube. We provide daily updates, predictions, betting advice, we do songs, we do fantasy fights, we've interviewed Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Bruce Lachmedio, and Felony Charles Bennett, all in just 1 year as an MMA channel. We're one of the fastest growing MMA channels on the net, but we're still small, so make sure you guys go check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo if you want to learn how you can become a full-time MMA black belt. And while you're there, you can see where this MMA channel started from, some of the goals we have for the channel, and even more cool videos just like this one if you enjoyed it. So thanks again to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. And also, if you're just lurking and this is your first time seeing a video, appreciate that as well. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOWG.